All right, you're rocking with the 9. Let's rock. Let's cook. Let's cook. All right, take a look at the screen and pick one. All right. Our Hebrew cosmos. That's definitely us. All right. Inca cosmos. That's us. Navajo. That's us. Mayan. Definitely us. All right. I don't know about the other two. All right, we're going to take a look at the 2014 Go Fast rocket launch. All right. This is an independent company. All right. And they built a rocket and it hit the firmament. But one of the special things about this case, because government always shooting rockets up and hitting the firmament, right? It's nothing new. But it had some GoPro cameras on it, all right? And it sounded like it hit some type of mem, all right? Now, we already know that we don't have the type of water, all right? Down here, that's up there, all right? We're just talking living waters. All right, let's go ahead and get that from Genesis, all right? Chapter 1, verse 1 through 8. All right, in the beginning, Hawah created the Shemaims and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Ruach of Hawah was hovering above the face of the Mem. And then Hawah said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And Hawah saw the light, that it was good, and Hawah divided, the light from the darkness. And Hawah called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And so the evening, and the morning were the first day. All right. Verse 6, very important. Then Hawah said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters." All right. And let it divide the waters from the waters. The Mem. All right. Thus Hawah made the firmament and divided the Mem, which were under the firmament, from the Mem, which were above the firmament. And it was so. And Hawah called the firmament Shemaim. And so the evening and the morning were the second day. All right, let's rock. All right, 73 miles up. All right, 73 miles up. There we go. And so it looks like this rocket is stuck somewhat. There go the moon. All right. Wow. I bet y'all didn't see that. We're going to dig on it. Wow. Okay, then. All right, you can see. All right, you see that horizon? You can draw a line, right? Straight through it. Keeping in mind these GoPros, you know what I'm saying, they had fisheye lenses, right? So you want to get that curve effect. Very interesting, huh? That's right. That is not that high up, man. All right, we live, y'all. We live. All right, camera number 3. Let's see what we got. Wow. Okay, there goes the moon. There go the moon again. Okay. Very interesting. All right, y'all. Job 26, verse 5 through 10. Of the dead tremble, those under the waters. All right. We're just talking Sheol. And those inhabiting them. Sheol is naked before him, and destruction has no covering. He stretches out the north over empty space. He hangs the earth on nothing. He binds up the water in his thick clouds, yet the clouds are not broken under it. He covers the face of his throne. He spreads his cloud over it. He drew a circular horizon, Shalaki, a circular, let's blow that up. All right. Let's get that. He drew a circular horizon on the face of the waters at the boundary of light and darkness. At the boundary of light and darkness. Oh, okay, Most High. At the boundary of light and darkness. All right. Okay, Most High. Let's rock. All right, then. All right. Okay, Most High. All right, y'all. Let's pop off. Mr. Brian Mullin. All right. Mr. Brian Mullin is a what he is, engineer. All right. He's an engineer, and he's one of the old school, ones back in the days, when the information was plentiful on YouTube. He one of the ones that they done ran off YouTube, and he used to have a show called Ball Out Physics or something like that, and you know what I'm saying. So, are you getting it from an engineer? All right. Mr. Brian is gonna talk a little bit about this rocket. All right. Let's go. Mr. B.
You would think at first that the moon would be in the meso layer, and that's what I thought. But I think they're both up here, and that's based on a video I just watched again, actually, from an amateur rocket launch, a Go Fast rocket that was launched in 2014. And if you haven't watched that yet, please watch it right now because I'm going to talk about it. So wait a second.
Done.
And, assumed you watched it. So when you watch that video, the rocket takes off, cameras pointing down. For some reason, cameras are always pointing down and never up, which would be nice if we could see what's going on when they're going up. But anyway, cameras pointing down, rocket takes off, and pretty quickly the rocket starts spinning around like crazy. I mean, you can see the fins and you can see the ground spinning. It might make you dizzy if you stare at it too long. So the rocket's spinning as it's traveling up. And about 1 minute into the flight, it suddenly just stops. Rocket just stops.
You saw that.
And that spinning stops. Everything just stops. And it just kind of sits there for a second. And some people have suggested that it hit a dome that may be above us.
Of course.
I thought at that velocity it would have been destroyed. So I didn't think much of it when I originally watched it, but I have to thank a guy named Jeff who just sent it to me again because it really put some pieces together for what I was working on with this. And when you watch the video, the rocket just stops.
Sure.
And so I started looking up the stats. That rocket went over 3,500 miles per hour on that trip. Now, it might not have been going that fast when it stopped, but it was going a few thousand miles per hour at least, and it just, all that energy just suddenly, where did it go? Rockets don't have brakes. It literally stops, and I mean, the rotation keeps going a little bit, but all of that angular momentum from the rotation of the rocket and the linear momentum from flying up just stopped. No, it had to have hit something. But what did it hit? If it hit a solid surface, the rocket would have been destroyed, and most likely the camera too, so we wouldn't have the footage, and obviously that's not the case. So when you start watching it, around that time, around a minute in, a few seconds later, the two stages separate. It's a two-stage rocket, looks like, and you watch the bottom half of the rocket start to fall down, as you would expect. But then the upper half, the way the camera's mounted to it, starts spinning around, and very slowly it starts to fall back towards Earth. Very slowly. And you might think, well, it got I have it up here. The Go Fast rocket got up to about 117 kilometers. And space, outer space, is considered in the thermal layer. Once you cross into the thermal layers, technically you're in outer space. But what doesn't make sense is just because you fly vertically into outer space doesn't mean that you're just going to float there. That's not how it works based on the heliocentric model. If you watch Balls Out Physics episode 3, I talked about how you have to have an orbital velocity, and these orbital velocities are incredibly fast. You have to be orbiting the Earth to resist the force pulling down on you, gravity, weight, whatever you want to call it, that pulls down on you. You have to do that. You have to do basically this string is gravity. Just to show this again, if you haven't seen that, you have to be moving at a high velocity to resist that force. That rocket.
Okay, so they say, all right, according to them, all right, let's go. Let's rock.
It went straight up, so it should have fallen straight back down.
All right.
And just to see what the acceleration on that rocket should be, assuming very thin, almost no air up here, because that's what's supposed to be there, I did a calculation at 117 kilometers plus the radius of the Earth, and I found that the acceleration towards Earth, due to gravity, if you want to call it that, or due to weight, should be roughly 9.46 meters per second squared.
Mm-hmm.
That's not much. That rate is pretty close to the rate at sea level, which is 9.81 meters per second squared. So it should have basically done this, but it didn't.
All right. And pretty much what Mr. Brian is saying is that it is just like the Most High calls it, all right? It is a roof, all right? It is a ceiling, all right? And it's very shallow. It is stretched out, all right? Stretched out like a curtain, the Most High says, all right? You know, and spreaded it out as a tent to dwell in. All right, let's go.
Slowly starts sinking, like it's in water.
Huh? All right, now pay attention, right, to the sound of a splash, if you will. All right, a somewhat of a underwater tone, if you will. Let's rock. Huh?
Or some type of liquid.
Con.
That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If you really start watching it, the way those pieces are falling, if you get to about 2 minutes and 10 seconds in, you see the other stage, the lower half of the rocket, still slowly tumbling down like it's in water. According to mainstream science, as you get up in these layers, as the temperature goes up, as you get up in these layers, the pressure decreases. The pressure becomes almost nothing in the thermo layer and meso layer as well. But suddenly, it just kind of stops and then slowly starts sinking.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here?
What's going on?
Is there water there? There's some kind of liquid?
Mm.
There's some kind of very, very dense gas? Scriptures tell us that there is water up there.
Huh.
That's interesting. So the rocket just stops. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then there's the lunar wave that Crow 7 filmed in 2012. If you haven't seen that, I've also posted a link down there. And in that video, you see the moon, and you see what looks like a wave of water go across the surface of it. It's crazy. If you haven't seen it, please watch it.
I've seen it.
So you combine that with how this rocket behaves, and now I'm starting to think that I've seen enough evidence that I can actually write this right here.
Come on. Let's get it, Mr. Brian Mullin.
H2O. And this mesopause, as this area is called, where the temperature starts to increase as you cross into the thermo layer. I mean, rapidly increases up to 500 1,500 degrees Celsius, there appears to be some water.
Aha! We're just talking about living water, y'all. That's all. All right, y'all. We're rocking with UAP. All right, UAP. Y'all check him out on YouTube. He's flat earther, mud flood, all that. Okay, let's rock.
But the next little bit is the juicy bit. Get a load of this.
That white object that goes fluttering by could have been an alien for all we know. I have no idea what it is. It might have been something that was in the booster when it separated, and yeah, we saw that too. It's a curious object that was in the booster when it separated, and yeah, we saw that too. It's a curious object.
Wasn't that big news? Oh, it's not. They're not.
All right, y'all. 750,000.
Wow. Curious object.
Wasn't that big news?
All right, y'all. There it is. All right, I've had fun. Job 26, just to reiterate, Job 26, verse 10. It says, he drew a circular horizon on the face of the waters, all right, the men, at the boundary of light and darkness. Huh? Hawah.